let's get started.
Thank you very much, Frank. Yeah, good evening and hello to everyone joining this wonderful session. It's a pleasure, it's a great pleasure being part of this seminar presentation with Averys. That's true. It's a long journey now that we've been part of this great collaboration partnership in the UK, and then let's. I would like to start just saying, we are a family in the southern part of Spain. Yeah, that's where we are, and Spain, as you know, is a pretty nice and a big geography in terms of wine production, and we are third generation of a family that has been in the business since actually the earliest, the beginning of the 90s. If my father's side started the business at that time, and we have really gone through a nice development over the years. Let me give you a little bit of information about the location where we are, which is one of the elements perhaps that will give us an insight description of the whole thing in terms of what the wine production means for us. So you have the map of the location right on the screen now, and the location is Yecla. We pronounce it like that, like yellow Yecla in this case. Yecla is pretty close to the coastal area. It's perhaps as a reference for you, easy to point. Well, we have Valencia there, but it is a very good reference for you, Alicante, which is on the coast. It's only 1 hour inland from Alicante. So many of you may have heard about this location. Yecla is in the province of Murcia, and the important thing here is the elevation. The municipality where we are is in the round about 500 meters above sea level, but most of our vineyards are located in the good uphill size between 6 to over 800 meters, and that makes it very, very special. Special because we enjoy a microclimate down here. We have the fact that we are high in altitude, and also because of very dry condition for a very, very long periods here. We get especially during summer, very high temperatures during the daytime, but also we have quite a good and nice decrease of those temperatures during the night, especially in summer. So we may have like 42 degrees during the day, central part of the day, and then we may just go down to 16, 17 degrees during the night. That's a huge differentiation, right? Thermal differentiation during this period, and that's one of the most relevant elements in this case, to really have this contrast and fruitiness. The fact that we have this amazing thermal differentiation makes it so special for the last part of the growing season in this case. Okay, important to mention, and due to this climate characteristic we have in the area. There is one single variety that is meant to be indigenous from the region, and that is Monastrell. Monastrell is a variety that has been established in this area for, well, historically, you know, as far as we know, we have seen, we've managed to seen seeds that were found in some kind of archaeologist rest, and apparently this variety has been sitting in this land, in this part of the country for centuries. So this is amazing to see how, you know, a single variety has really managed to develop for such a long time in a region like this. Monastrell, well, is very well established, as I say, in the southeast part of the country of Spain. You may have heard Tempranillo, which is up in the north. You may have heard Garnacha. Monastrell is the third best established in terms of production, in terms of vineyard extension, the third best established variety in Spain. That said, because of its identity, it's an amazing and very resistant grape variety. When I say resistant, I mean the condition, the climate we enjoy here. It's very dry. We have a rainfall average in a normal year of no more than 300 millimeters in a 12-month period. So imagine 300 millimeters. It's very little, very little. So this variety stands amazingly well, has the capability to carry on with its natural development in the vineyard without being irrigated. A majority of the vineyards we are cultivating here are not irrigated. Those are bush vines that, well, the parcels, the blocks have no dripping lines. They don't get water unless it rains. So imagine we may have sometimes, it can be quite normal to have 4 months in a row, 4 months in a row with no rain. And those vines will still show an amazing behavior, you know, the concentration, the structure we get out of the fruit at the end of the whole process is just amazing. It's really, really incredible how a variety like this can resist this kind of dry condition in a region like this. So we have a variety that well, it's super adapted to this condition. We also have we mentioned about the bush vine. We also have trellis conduction, but that's a minority in this case. Most of it is meant to be conducted on bush vine. Okay, so this is in many cases these are ungrafted vines that have been in production for quite a long time. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is well, you have a small picture here, family 100% family the family has been there for a long time. As I said, my father's side of the family. Today we are 3 brothers running the operation. Myself, I'm the one who has been developing the sales and the development of sales of export markets mainly. That has been a focus, you know, since the very beginning. Well, today is strange picture these days. Obviously, we are trying to just carry on having communication with all our customers, using the new technology. But it is what it is, and it's interesting. The development we've seen over the years has been pretty much on export markets. Actually, it's 90% of our production is really is being distributed in many different markets around the world, well, we have seen a good and successful development over the years. Let me perhaps get more into the wine we have with us now, which is this Castano Ecologico Monastrell. And this is quite an easy way to understand and to enjoy this variety, Monastrell. This wine is meant to show well and to be quite easy to enjoy your palate. Basically, it's 100% Monastrell. The wine has not seen any barrel age, so we've used mostly bush vines, a little bit of trellis here. Everything has been received from vineyards that are organically certified, and what we really emphasize in this variety is the fruitiness. Normally we are talking about red fruit or black fruit. In some cases can be quite easy to appreciate on your nose, and it's meant to have nice acidity, but at the same time has got elements from the ground. We have the soil is quite easy to enjoy. The minerality here is quite easy to enjoy here as well. Yeah.
Daniel, I've got a question, if you don't mind.
Please go ahead.
You mentioned that you don't do any irrigation. Has there ever been any vintages where it's been so hot that you've had to irrigate? And if so, is it actually allowed?
Yeah, that's a very important question. Yes, we've seen ourselves in some cases, some situations where we've had to, just provide some emergency supply of water in some cases, and we are allowed in the region to irrigate in specific times, in certain occasions when this the drought may have has taken for quite a long time, and that's permitted in some specific occasions, but normally in most is very rare. We have had that, because what happened is whenever we have a very, very small amount of rain, is simply the yield that will be lower. But the fruit will still be quite in an amazing condition. So that's a little bit the point. So the rain is going to determine the amount of crop we're gonna see as a result of the lack of water. Yeah.
And you also mentioned that you have ungrafted vines. Is that throughout all of the vineyards, or just a little plot? And does that mean that they are super old?
We are between 30 to 40% of our vineyards are ungrafted vines, bush vine Monastrell. Yeah.
What's the average age of the bush vines that you use for the Ecologico? Do you know?
Yeah, 35 to 45 years old. That's the average of the organic vineyards for the organic wines.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, there we are. It's and I'll make a point here, because there is a real movement in general. That's the current scenario, and perhaps the the virus and the situation now is changing the way people see things, and the respect of nature, and the way people have to focus their life more on sustainability. But that's a reality, and perhaps that's one of the reasons we have really started to conduct and to put our efforts in just making that happen. So we have determined our projection for the next 3 years to become 100% a wine producer. Of all the wines will be organic. So that's a journey we are going through it right now, and in 2023 that will be a harvest where the plan is to be 100% organic wine producer by then. Yeah.
What percentage are you now, out of interest, in terms of organic?
That's exactly. So today, actually, we are in the this year 2020. The vintage has represented actually almost 40%. Almost 40%. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that quite kind of standard across the region? Is there a lot of organic farming, or do you tend to see your vineyards stand out in terms of the health of the soil and the vines?
Yeah, this is really happening. I mean, it's not just us, but the mentality also from those grape growers is there, and well, it's a very simple thing, especially in this region, and due to climate condition here is that we don't really need to use these kind of agrochemicals or pesticides, just to control the certain plagues, right, or this kind of insects that may damage the vines. Is simply because it's so dry condition. We don't have the humidity, weather condition that may interfere or cause some of these problems. So it's a very easy way that we can manage from nature, that the normal procedure in the vineyard can be done in a natural way, and this is the way organic regulations apply. So it's becoming a very generally followed by many of our grape suppliers, and this is going to really happen in the next couple of years. I'm sure most of the grape growers will get into this new concept. Yeah.
I know it's probably quite hard to put a number on it, but in terms of how much more expensive it is to produce organic wine, is there quite a big jump, or is it just kind of quite gradual as you slowly go through the process?
Yeah, this should be quite a gradual and easy way to let's say to transform the procedure. And as I say, just to give you an example, the way we are doing it right now, the way we are managing our vineyards at the moment, is exactly the same way as the organic farming rules apply. So the only thing is that you need to just get into the bureaucracy and go to the body that regulates the whole thing, and they have to come to do the whole registration, just find out which plots are going to be registered. So it's really a paperwork thing rather than a change of managing the vineyard itself. So it's just a matter of going through bureaucracy at this time, and that's generally what we are doing, not just us with our vineyards, but also those grape suppliers that are providing grapes to us. Yeah. So yeah, we carry on. Perhaps here we have some nice slides that were taken during harvest a few weeks back. I mean, now almost middle of November, we are 100% over with the harvest 2020. That, by the way, has been one of the really good ones. I mean, we have assessed this vintage as one of the best in history for us. I don't know if the lockdown we had, from March, April, May in Spain, or perhaps in other countries, I don't know, the less contamination, less pollution has contributed in some ways to have a different weather. The fact is that we had a bit more rain during April and May, and that was the right time for us to have the rain. And well, I mean, the condition during summer was amazing, was really good. No rain, was very dry. The vineyards were with a good amount of water, so it has been really this condition where we've seen a great quality in this case. So yeah, there we are, and perhaps we just carry on and have the next wine. There we are, and yeah, that's wine number 2 in this case, and well, it's the icon wine. I have to put it that way. Hecula has been well, what we perhaps want to show as our emblematic Monastrell here. Well, the one before was also Monastrell 100% organic, but in this case is 100% Monastrell, and all of it coming from bush vines in this case. So we've seen greater concentration, more structure in the palate, and is a really nice what we have in this case. Hecula, in the wine here, we have had a little bit of barrel age, so we still enjoy the fruitiness and this kind of real character of the variety, but at the same time we've seen this kind of nice roundness that we get out of the barrel aging. Yeah, it's well, 14.5 alcohol degree here, but so well integrated. You feel the pleasure in this case. Well, fill up your palate in a very pleasant way, and well, having said that, I completely feel this is a wine that will pair so well with a number of so many dishes. I mean, for me, today is going to be the wine I'm gonna be sharing with a nice ham and cheese manchego, jamon, in a very nice way. Wine like this will be pairing with so many different options. That will make it in a beautiful way. We have been talking about Hecula as an emblematic wine, but let me give you a little bit of the well, what's going on with this presentation, because it's interesting to see what's behind the label there. It's something we wanted to make the link here with history. Well, you see this kind of mosaic on the label, and that mosaic is we've had people that were perhaps making the relationship with Jesus Christ, right? But that's not the case. The mosaic represents a very interesting thing. We've made the link with history, as I said. The Romans were in our land, in this region, in Murcia, in Yecla, in the Roman Empire, and they had an emperor based in our land. that emperor bust, the bust was found 3 years ago, and that bust had a medallion on his chest, and the medallion has precisely been recreated on the label. So imagine what this symbol is telling us in terms of history. As I said earlier before, Romans already made wine in this region. So the journey, has gone through a nice, a nice development over the years. And today we've wanted to recreate this medallion on the label. That was the emperor's name was Adriano. Adriano was the emperor that we had in our region. So Hecula means a lot. Hecula means a lot. The name Hecula is also the name of Yecla, which is the region. And yeah, that's pretty much, in this case, one of the reasons for us to remain being an iconic wine for the family. Yeah. So yeah, it is important, as I said, Monastrell being third largest established variety in Spain, as I said. Today we are tasting these two wines, but of course Monastrell is also a variety that allows to make beautiful rosé wines as well. It goes into other, perhaps more full body wines at the same time. So it's a very versatile variety in different ways. There is also a sweet Monastrell that we do a late harvest as well. But in this case, yeah, for me, Hecula in this profile, in this style, shows such a nice value for what it is. It's a wine that allows to enjoy in a beautiful way. So that's
your sweet Monastrell is absolutely fantastic. It's a delicious wine and a really good alternative to people who like port, but maybe not with the same level of alcohol. So it's not as over the top as port. It's a little bit more restrained, and it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah, we love to pick it for our kind of cheese and wine pairing evenings, don't we? And I must say, actually, the Hecula has been one that I've used for a lot of virtual tastings that we've been doing across the country, because I'm always very confident that it's going to go down well with people. We're sending a full bottle to their houses, and it's always gone down really, really well. And I think it's worth mentioning as well, the Hecula is a step up from perhaps the Ecologico, but we also have the Santa as well as the Castano Dolce. So I think plenty more to explore. Could you comment on the Santa? I know we're not tasting it today, but in terms of how that might differ from the Hecula?
Absolutely, it's a good point, Luis, because Santa started. We actually is a more recent, perhaps, creation, but it went up to be one of the top of the range wines. And what we wanted to do there was to combine the two most relevant varieties that we grow in the area. So Santa is Monastrell mainly, but a little bit of the other variety that we grow in the region that is meant to be also indigenous or local in the area. It's called Garnacha Tintorera. So we have this blend together, Monastrell 90% with 10% Garnacha Tintorera, that makes it super explosive. I mean, Santa is, it's like a big blockbuster. So you really need something heavy there, but at the same time, it's so silky and so beautiful in your palate, when you have it there. And yeah, it's another great option. I mean, perhaps, this coming month, Christmas period, these wines like these that will be so well, being paired with nice meals, things like that. So it's another great example what Monastrell can achieve, right, in terms of with there. So that's another good example of what a variety like this that has for many years Monastrell has not been a variety well known in across many markets, but nowadays it's becoming there. People are starting to know more about it, and it's been such a nice grape to show a beautiful and big potential for nice wines, definitely.
And just for those of you that don't know, Monastrell is also known as the Mourvedre grape in France.
Correct.
And how would you describe taste-wise the difference between a French Mourvedre and a Spanish Monastrell?
That's a very nice question, Frank, in this case, because in this point, what we differentiate in a very clear way is the characteristic of the climate. I mean, the climate we have here is relatively different, obviously, from the climate it can be in the southern part of France, where the Bandol region, where this Mourvedre is meant to grow. So you easily detect or find out that these are different. So the full body condition, this kind of a concentration we have in our region is something you don't really see in a Mourvedre grown in the southern part of France. You have a different kind of elements. It's perhaps well, I could say much more perhaps a bit lighter in some ways, but you still have the minerality, those elements that make them obviously see being the same variety, right? So you see the links between the two of them, but as I say, the climate makes it different, especially in this kind of texture, in the bodiness you have in your palate mainly. Yeah.
And am I right in thinking that all of your wines are vegan?
Yes, that is 100%.
Was there a reason behind making all of them vegan?
Well, it's simply because the way we make them, the procedure we follow in this case is what the regulation of vegan wines say. So when we found that we were using elements that were 100% into this kind of certification, well, we decided to just we have them on the label, on the back label, as a vegan friendly. So I mean, I think this is more and more people are trying to take care more on the way they feed themselves, and wine is important as well. So the whole production in our case is wines that are completely vegan friendly, and that's the way we wanted to say, and it's doing quite well. Generally, export markets, people more and more trying to be more respectful with nature, but also trying to be more sustainable and eat and drink in a healthier way, basically.
So what is it that you're using for fining then?
Well, we are using 100% what is defining elements and material are those that are permitted for the vegan certification, which is the defining in this case from the I think the jock, right? The jock in this case, and that's that's perfectly fine. And we had the body that is in Spain and that regulates the whole procedure. We had them. We have them once every year to verify the whole procedure, and that's the procedure we do with the wine. So that's in this case they are certified on. We have Hecula and we have the correct stamp here. That's is a body we have in Spain in this case.
I actually think it makes it a lot easier, the fact that you do label it up as vegan and organic, because sometimes a lot of wineries kind of practice vegan methods, but they don't necessarily label it as such, and it can be quite difficult from a consumer point of view to understand. So making it clear is appreciated. I know you tend to be known for practicing quite modern winemaking techniques. We've got a couple of questions in terms of how you practice those techniques. I know you commented on the fining process with the vegan side of things. Does the way you make wine in your region differ from kind of other producers locally?
As far as we know, not really. I mean, the way we make wines is we tried, and we try to be as natural as we can, and in terms of the whole process, either at the vineyard, in the vineyard, at the winery. We are trying to be as respectful as possible in every single part of the winemaking process. And perhaps one of the reasons we wanted to really go, we really want to go organic is also because we want to go one step farther in this case. So that's the way we make it in comparison to other producers. Well, to be honest, I don't think there is much. I mean, we know what we want to achieve in every profile of every wine, and every producer has its own criteria, right, to just get this style or this element in one direction or in another direction. But I don't think there's much in terms of the winemaking production that perhaps is different from us with other producers.
And
So,
what about? Oh, sorry, Louise.
No, you're probably going to ask the same question in terms of aging potential of the wines. We've had a couple of questions in terms of once they're bottled, how long would you say something like the Hecula could last in the bottle?
Yeah, this is Hecula. I couldn't really describe the wine as being a wine to be kept right in the cellar for a long time. In my opinion, Hecula is a wine that will very easily keep in the cellar for another 3-4 years, quite well and in a good way. But if you ask me, the way I see it, I think it's a wine that I could have it. Perhaps why not today? I mean, the way it is right now, I feel quite happy with that. And it's how you want to appreciate this fruitiness, the expression of the wine in your palate, and I think wines like this, 2 years fine to keep them in the bottle. After the second year, they are amazingly ready to be enjoyed.
I don't think I've actually been able to keep a bottle longer than a week. So I was just wondering, within the winery itself, do you guys tend to prefer more new or old oak?
Yeah, it's a good question, that one, because we so much enjoy and appreciate the character of the variety that for us, the use of new oak, in some cases we do, and of course we have them, but we are trying to keep as much as we can the natural element of the grape. So having said that, we're trying to use a second-hand barrel use. So the involvement of the wood is as smooth and as little as possible, really, to interact with the wine. So we've in the past, perhaps we tried with this oaky and quite heavy woody flavors, but that's something we are trying to be more respectful there. So very little or minimal use of oak these days, where we try to work with on the wine. So every single wine from our range will be first of all, the character of the variety, the fruitiness, the minerality as a predominant element to enjoy, right? So the answer would be, minimum amount of new oak is used for Castaño.
And have there been any difficulties in recent years with climate? Has the climate change had a big effect in your region?
Yeah, well, more than what we have mentioned earlier. In some cases, it may happen sometimes that during perhaps September, we may face some very localized thunderstorms that may happen, that, especially because the very hot condition we've had during summer, it's common that the warm temperature of the Mediterranean Sea causes the concentration of some fronts that in some cases will just end up in a thunderstorm in this region, in the southeast. But the thing is, in most cases, those will be, as I said, localized thunderstorm. It may, just cause some problems in very specific areas. So we may have a bit of hail in a vineyard or in a plot that is, 100 meters from a house, and in the house area have nothing, no hail. So it's some very specific hail storms sometimes that may cause obviously some issues in some specific blocks, but no more than that really. So it's one of the very important elements in this region is the consistency of the weather that we really enjoy, and we take advantage of that, of course.
We've had some of the other producers mention that harvests have been getting earlier and earlier. One person saying that in the last, I think it was 30, 40 years, that their harvest is now a month earlier than what it was a generation ago. Are you finding similar issues?
Well, we had been finding that, things have come a little bit earlier in the past few years. And again, what has happened in 2020, maybe due to what we said, elements of the weather, or perhaps the cleaner condition of the environment, maybe. But we've seen harvest this year a little bit later, that it has been as it used to be in quite a few years back, right? So this has slightly changed a bit. So it looks, I could say perhaps it looks like it's more a cyclical thing rather than, that's the way we see it. That's the way we see it. It's this year, for some reasons that perhaps is hard to say or not easy to say at this moment, we've seen, timing has perhaps come back to what it was to the years back. That's a reality at this point. Yeah.
And in terms of this year, obviously there's been difficulties faced both in the vineyard and from the business perspective. In terms of what you've learned from the process, is there any kind of positives that you can take from how you were impacted by the COVID situation, or has it mostly just been kind of difficulties that you've faced, whether it's in the winery or in the vineyard, or in terms of sales and things?
Mm-hmm. This is well, I only can say about the way we see it and the experience we are seeing, obviously, but we've seen a bit of both. I mean, we have a number of markets where we've been quite well connected with on-trade, for example, and restaurant business, as we know, is going to have a very difficult times. We don't know for how long, but that's reality these days. And that's, we've seen a big impact there. On the other hand, we have markets where we've been connected quite well for a number of years on the, retailer segment or on that channel. And that has seen an amazing growth due to the fact that people are, still drinking wine, but obviously they just bring wine home and they drink it there. So a bit of ups and downs in different markets. Asia has been quite an important market for us, and for a period of time we saw an important slowdown, but now things are picking up in a good way, which is wonderful. I mean, while now Europe is being deeply affected, and once again the second wave apparently has been quite tough, but now the parts of the world like Asia now and Australia and they are doing pretty well these days. Everything seems to be under control, no? But yeah, I mean, it's a bit of everything. We frankly speaking, we well connected generally with online sales, with retail in different markets. So that channel has seen a good development, and we are trying to obviously be more connected there. So in general, it's difficult for everybody. That's no question. I mean, we have people now from the team that have been affected. They've just had to be home for a few days. The good thing is, people are coming back, and they're feeling good. They're feeling in a perfect condition. But it's the whole thing is so complicated and so complex. But anyway, I mean, our hopes are high that we'll see. We are starting to see a bit of light now, and the more every day that goes by, there's something new that we know. We are learning a lot, and I think it's the human condition thing, basically, in the end, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And as long as we can still share a glass of wine somehow, then all is good, really.
Absolutely, yeah. So
yeah. As Louise said, the Hecula we use on so many tastings, and it's always nice to taste it again. It's a real favourite of mine, and I think it's absolutely delicious. And as I mentioned at the beginning, tasting them side by side to see that more sort of fruitier expression with the ecological versus the slightly more structured, that slightly more savourier, more pepper and spice coming through with the Hecula. It's so nice to taste wines side by side and see how those subtle differences within the winery do really change the style. There's been one question there is why the higher level of alcohol within the Hecula? It's a very hot climate, obviously, so you will get lots of sugar. Have you considered sort of reining in the alcohol a little bit, picking a little bit earlier, or is it always that kind of 14.5%?
That's a little bit what I was perhaps mentioning earlier. The condition, the weather condition, perhaps makes it as we think it has to be. Monastrell is a variety that needs to be mature and ripen in order to show its character, the fruitiness, the beautiness of a grape in the palate when you enjoy it. So the fact that we need to reach this ripening in the vineyard makes it as they are in the resulting wine. So 14.5 in this case it's well, we should say perhaps is maybe a little bit high, but it is the right and natural amount of alcohol in this case that comes from the condition of the fruit by the time that it has been picked. So yeah, that's a bit, and I mean, it's well, sometimes can be a little bit less. Obviously, when we've seen the ripening is there, we do the picking, and the resulting alcohol will be there. So we try not to perhaps alter in this case that kind of element. We know alcohol is a protection in the end for the wine, so we want that to be there, and yes, we try to respect that as much as we can. Yeah.
Because I know the Santa can get up to 15.5 sometimes. But what I love about it is, regardless of that high level of alcohol, it's not that detectable on the palate. It's always about the balance, having that extra richness and texture, that full body, some firm tannins, and an abundance of fruit. You don't really notice the alcohol, until it's too late.
It's quite true. It's well integrated. I mean, it's a good thing there, of course. Yeah.
Well, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us this evening and for talking us through these delicious wines. It's been a treat and a delight to listen to you talk so passionately about your region. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, we would love to welcome you back to Averys and to our usual celebration and summer wine events as and when we can, which hopefully won't be too long away.